right.
All right. My name is Sean Michael Walker, and this is Insurance You Indemnify Me. And today we have John Flores. Welcome
Hello.
to the microphone.
Thank you.
Welcome to the recording studio, if you will. It's really just my office. And how the heck are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
It's 9 a.m. and we're doing this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's my Monday.
We're locked in, so here we go. It's your Monday. What
No,
day is it
I'm
today?
just
It's
kidding.
Tuesday, right?
Well, you only work 3 days a week. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Today
Insurance
can be
agents are, in maybe in a soft market, right? But in a
Right.
hard market,
Yeah.
things are
Every
getting a
day's a
little
Monday.
bit more complicated.
Yeah.
So let's get the John Flores background. The world is going, who is this guy? So
Yeah.
who are you?
Well,
Why should they stick around for the show?
Well, former Chippendales model.
Wow,
obviously.
really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I say
I can
former,
see-
but you
I
know.
can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chris Farley side of it. you know?
Exactly, right?
I'm just kidding.
We'll have a dance off you and
Yeah,
I here in
yeah,
just
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit for the viewers at home. But
Perfect.
no, I'm originally from Arizona.
Okay.
I grew up there and spent part of my youth in Hawaii, which is where my parents live currently. So spent a lot of time out in the islands.
Wow. You have friends who got caught up in the fire?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, one of my friends had a scuba diving business actually out there, and
Wow.
they lost everything. So yeah, we've been monitoring it very closely, and it's tragedy.
Where in Arizona?
I grew up in Mesa, Arizona.
Mesa.
Yeah, it's kind of the rough part of town.
Did I tell you this? But I believe all genetically perfect people come from Mesa, Arizona.
Is that right?
It's like an ongoing. It's been an ongoing joke in my household, and I've
Yeah.
been married almost 20 years. It's been an ongoing joke in my household for 20 years. That
Well-
genetically perfect people come from Mesa, Arizona.
The scientists that made me told me the same
They're
thing.
like,
So yeah,
That's how you became the Chippendales model.
that's right. Yeah, from birth. Right.
Right.
I was very young.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Mesa, Arizona. How long
Yep.
in Hawaii?
3 years in
3
Hawaii.
years. Cool.
Yeah.
Were they like the formidable years, like teenage years, or were they just kind of like
No.
9, 10, 11 years?
Yeah, it was after I grew up in Arizona, spent some time in Central America, and then moved to Hawaii and lived there for about 3 years and had a company out there before I
Very cool.
came back here to this beautiful heat wave of Denver.
So you went from Hawaii to Denver?
Yeah, I did. It was a shock. Yeah, it was a shock when I got here. So.
Why not back to Arizona or something?
I had a company here in Colorado, and it made more sense to have it here.
Sure.
So here I was, and here I stay.
Okay. So when did insurance become a part of all of that?
So I actually can credit, if he's watching today.
He's watching.
Yeah, he's watching, right? A gentleman by the name of Dave Gould.
Dave Gould.
Dave
Why do
Gould.
I know that name?
He's with Farmers Insurance. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say
you can say that.
Yeah. He's with a company that rhymes with Farmers.
You just can't say anything bad about Farmers Insurance.
We might want to turn the camera. I'm just kidding. I love Farmers, actually.
Yeah.
No, so he's a kind of a lifer, right? His dad was a farmer's guy, and Dave was a farmer's guy, and so I came back to Denver, came to Denver to find a new opportunity, and Dave was kind of the guy that we had a mutual friend, and I started looking at Dave, and I'm like, what does this guy do for work? He's always around. He seems like he does pretty well financially. And so I had a conversation with him one time where I was teasing him a little bit, and I just said, hey, what do you do for work? Are you dealing drugs? Dealing drugs. You can tell me you're dealing
So
drugs.
you're saying he had a lot of free time.
Yeah.
And he was, when you say he was always around, it's like he was always at the kids' events or he was always somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are you always present?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
you
got
know?
it.
So
It's a great lifestyle for that.
Yeah, it was great. And he's the one that kind of said, I do insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever thought about it? I was like,
Yeah,
no,
right.
No,
Loser.
Yeah, I had studied biology in college.
Yeah.
So insurance was nowhere on my radar at all.
Yeah.
But as he talked to me more about what insurance is, like a lot of us, I don't think any of us, grow up going, man, I can't wait to be an insurance agent.
Right.
But as you learn about the industry and what the potential is, and how it kind of marries being able to help people,
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
while providing you this just unprecedented freedom and income potential.
Yeah.
It was I was hooked.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Let's do
So
it.
did you work for his agency, or did he like introduce you to the right farmers person that
No, I
got you a
wasn't,
farmers agency, or what happened there?
Yeah, I wasn't skilled enough to work for Dave at that time.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. He's the hot stuff.
Yeah, he's a big hitter.
Yeah,
he's a
okay.
big hitter. But
he's like, this is what it is. But you can't work for me.
yeah,
Go
that's
somewhere
right.
else.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Which, you know, it was good. I started I started kind of, I don't want to say too entry level. I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah,
But
sure,
for me, it was entry level.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a recruiter.
Yeah.
And so my job was finding other people that wanted to get into the insurance industry.
Okay.
Which was kind of funny considering I barely knew much about the insurance industry to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a great opportunity. And another gentleman who I'll give a shout out to, Jameson Staroshuk, also
I know
former
Jameson
Chippendales
Staroshuk.
model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I say former. He may still be doing it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jameson Staroshuk is a current Chippendales model.
Yeah. I didn't want to, I'm sorry I released his secret, but there it is. Now he can't hide anymore.
That name sounds really familiar to me too.
Yeah. He sells a little insurance on the side.
Does he? He
really
fools around on the side.
Yeah.
But he's really just dancing full
We
time.
know where the money comes from. Yeah, let's be honest.
Hey, if you can make money.
He was with Farmers at that time as well, district manager. And so Dave helped me connect with Jameson.
Okay.
And to his credit, Jameson took a risk on me when I literally knew nothing about insurance.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, I'm going to give you a shot and come into my office. And I learned a lot from that guy. A lot.
Yeah. Well, even in that role, like
Yeah.
that recruiter role, that guy, I mean, I would think you would hear baptism by fire. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He,
Wow.
he really just kind of said, this is what our goals are. This is what we need to do. Go make it happen and figure it out and let me know if you need me. Right. So it can be daunting, but I'll tell you, there's no better way to learn insurance than having to learn insurance when you're standing in front of a class of 15 new agents and they're all expecting you to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I had to learn real quick what I was talking about.
So could I ask you, like, what was the pitch? You were a recruiter for Farmers. What was the pitch?
I mean, obviously being able to work with me was
if we have to, we
what
can
hooked
edit out
most
the word
people.
Farmers.
Yeah,
so,
I know, right?
But what was the hook?
I just kind of used the same thing that hooked me, really, because in my mind I thought if this
limitless
is appealing
earning
to me,
potential.
yeah, I knew that
your own schedule.
I'd always been kind of an entrepreneur, right? I'd had a couple companies prior to coming to Farmers, and while I had dabbled in being an employee, I'm just not that great of an employee. I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
And so, to me, it was approaching someone. I'll never forget one of the kids that I talked to. He was actually a semi-pro tennis player and was getting out of it and wanted to get into insurance. And he ended up not doing it. But I remember telling him that, you got to take that long view, right? Yeah. He went and took this job, very short term. They were offering some decent money, but I knew that it was nothing compared to what an agent could make.
Yeah.
And to me, freedom is so much more valuable than money.
Freedom is...
It's everything.
It's funny you say that because I sit at my desk and I work in this office.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of time and a lot of energy. And I if I needed to get up and go to a kid's event, I could. Yeah. But this requires a lot of energy. And there's not a ton of freedom because I have to get this done and that done and put out this fire and that fire. And so I'm stuck here all the time.
Yeah.
And there's not nearly as much freedom, and I look at our insurance agents, and I just go, wow, they can get up and go pick their kid up from school and come home. And if they got to work till 2 a.m, they can work till 2 a.m.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many
freedom there.
How many times I've closed some business from a hotel room at 1 a.m. somewhere when I'm traveling or,
on a beach chair. Just kind of knocking something out.
You do what you have to do. You get the work done.
Yeah.
But the ability to do that work when you deem necessary
or where you
and being able to be there. I look back at my career now and I have 2 kids. I've never missed anything of theirs.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's great. And in another way, I always have to tell my daughter, I'm like, hey, I just want you to know,
that's not
I feel
normal.
like you've got a little bit of a twisted sense of how work works, right?
Yeah, because my kids would be like, yeah, Dad showed up, 1 out of
Yeah.
every 6 things,
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad about that, but
No, you do what you got to do to provide for your family.
but I do look at agents and I'm like, man, you get to show up to 6 out of 6 things or 10 out of 10 things. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What
There
an
are times now,
incredible
especially
freedom.
as my daughter's gotten older, I'm sure she's like, oh my gosh, can you just
Not
go to
show
work?
up.
Like, don't
Can you
embarrass
not
me again.
show up
Yeah.
in your Chippendales outfit and do the dance at my thing?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's a curse, really.
I get it.
But
It really is.
yeah. So that's, I spent a lot of time there. Went through the recruiter role.
Yeah.
I was a reserve district manager there
Okay.
with Jameson.
Okay.
And was picked, I'll say, was nice to be one of the first class of business consultants when they rolled out that program at Farmers years ago. I was one of the first. And so traveled around the country a little bit and training and
Cool.
And then had a responsibility to go out into the world and do my best to help agents drive revenue in their agencies. So that was also extremely valuable, right? Being able to go into different agencies and get behind the curtain and see how everybody does things.
Yeah.
Sometimes can be alarming.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other times I'm like, wow, I've never thought about that. Or, it
Yeah.
really, you soak up a lot of good information from everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody's got something valuable to add.
Isn't it wild to see like the vast spectrum of what entrepreneurs do, you know? So like you walk into one office and you're like,
Yep.
whoa, you don't have a single process in place and you have no idea what you're doing. And why are there stacks of files everywhere? And why does it smell like wet dog in this building? And what is going on, And then others, you walk in and they're like, we've got 18 pieces of technology. Everything is streamlined. I've never taken a call in 5 years. And it all goes through text message. It's all through AI and boom, boom, boom. I write all these policies and you're like,
it's amazing.
really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I find that over the years, I never discount anyone because I'll see
true.
someone on
That's
paper
absolutely true.
or I'll meet them in person and they seem polished and perfect. And you're like, man, this is a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
And you get them in the actual day-to-day.
It's true.
And they can't write a policy to save their lives.
Well, or they are a heavy hitter, but their office is like a full-blown mess.
Yeah.
And that's not to say anything, but I think I understand what you're saying is like, you never discount anybody because I saw a picture online the other day where it's like, an insurance agent who wanted to like convince the world that he was a baller insurance agent.
Yeah.
So he was in a suit and tie and cufflinks and Rolex watch and all this and it was just a meme. And then the other picture was like the actual baller agent who's like in Crocs and, I don't know, Carhartt and like a sweater from like 1962, you know? And he's just like, and that it's like the actual income level between the two. This guy's making $4 million a year and this guy's making, the guy who is making, barely making it.
Exactly.
So
it's, I've had people that have really surprised me over the years.
I know,
like, man,
me too.
There's no way this guy's got what it takes, but you give them a
Me
shot
too.
and they just knock it out of the park. And so
I
it's
totally
amazing.
believe you. I've walked into offices and been like, oh my gosh. And then they are the person who just rocks out more policies than you could ever possibly imagine.
Yeah, I found over the years that to me, it's just more personality, you know, and there's an X factor there.
Yeah, there is. There
really
is.
You don't have to be flashy and fancy. You just have to be a good, decent person that people like.
Yeah.
And know your stuff.
Yeah.
And if you can do those few things, you'll probably have some level of success in this industry, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I see agents succeed despite their themselves, or despite their weaknesses. Like my wife is an insurance agent and she is not a salesperson at all. Yeah. Like in any way whatsoever. And yet she sells policies and she BORs policies and people are drawn to her and attracted to her and she gets it done. But she's smart and she gets it done. She can communicate really well, but never once has she ever like said to a person, I own an insurance agency.
Yeah.
I would like you to be my client. Like that, those words out of her mouth, she would just wither away and die.
Yeah. I joke with my daughter all the time that it's odd that I ended up in this industry, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably the most introverted extrovert you'll ever find.
Interesting.
I'm a very private person usually. So even sitting here, this is a
You're
very
like,
strange thing for me to
there's
do.
a camera on
Yeah,
me.
it's a little weird.
Don't
you
look
know,
at the red dot. over
I'm
there.
I'm not a big social media guy. I'm just
Yeah.
a very kind of a very quiet, private person most of the time. But you have to be extroverted to some degree to be out there. And so, when it has to happen, you flip it on, you turn it on, you go after it, and then you go back to your hermit life.
It's funny because my daughter is 16, and I keep going back to the quote in So We Bought a Zoo, which is something like, you only need 20 seconds of like extreme confidence.
Yes.
And I'm like, look, like life just comes down to, can I muster up 20 seconds of extreme confidence to get the thing done that I need done, and in the movie, it's to get a wife, or to meet the person of your dreams. But, but it comes down to, I need that 20 seconds of extreme confidence to get a client or to get a referral or to get a, whatever.
Which, going back to what we were talking about is kind of the benefit of the agent being able to plan their day, right?
Yeah.
Because there are times where all of us, I think, at least if anybody's like me, where you plan your time and your day when you're most likely to be able to have that
spark.
That
yeah,
spark.
that's a good point.
And you go after it. And then you know that there's going to be time during that day where you just have to withdraw, and now it's, dealing with
work time.
Administrative stuff.
Time,
and
So farmers, how long were you there?
Man, I was with farmers for 9 years.
And you played a bunch of different roles in farmers.
I did. Okay. Yep. So started as a recruiter, reserve district manager, brief stint as a district manager, very brief. And then I was an agent for them. I was captive agent for them for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I had an office in Castle Rock.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I've really gotten to see a lot, and I find that it all led up to, where I am now. Mm-hmm. It's seeing behind the curtain on the corporate side, being able to understand the inner workings and the mindset of, that side of the aisle. Is a lot more empathetic when things happen, rate increases and things that happen. You're like, I can tell you exactly why this is happening. I can tell you exactly what these people are thinking because I was one of those people.
Right.
And then going back over to the agent side, I'll always say that when I crossed that line from corporate to agent, I had trained agents at that point for years, and I thought, man, I've got
I
got
know
it down.
their life.
Yeah.
I know what they do.
Man,
Blew your mind, right? Man,
I could not have been more shocked at the true day to day. Right, and that's where some of the corporate people that I know that I love dearly, we all thought we had a real good handle on the agent life. And to us as an armchair quarterback, it's real easy to go, why doesn't this guy just do X, Y, Z?
Right.
It's no problem.
100%.
And then you get on the other side and you're like, oh, yeah. Just trying not to kill myself today.
Yeah. I was on the carrier side for 10 years and same thing, like I don't want to hastily generalize the situation, but I will for just a second.
Sure.
Everybody on the carrier side thinks they understand the life and the day-to-day of an independent insurance agent.
Yeah.
And I would just go ahead and say there's no way everything that they're dealing with. And and we could even get into some of that on this podcast, like what carriers do that like rub the agent wrong, where they're like, I just went through hell to bind that policy.
Yeah.
You guys took the policy. Now you guys are running the policy off and you're just making my day-to-day life even worse. You know? And I think carriers are like, well, screw you. You're the agent. You'll figure it out and you can get it done.
Yeah.
Or who cares if you have to spend an extra 4 hours on the phone and the agent's going, I want to be $100 an hour an agent. If I have to spend another 4 hours on the phone, I'm just going to move it somewhere else where I don't have to spend 4 hours on the phone.
It's very true.
And,
I
think carriers just think it all comes down to price. And it's like, no, it comes down to, am I going to have to spend 4 hours on the phone with your carrier? And after I hit the upload button, am I going to have to go through hell to keep it all on the rails?
And there's a certain level of, if anything that really frustrates me sometimes, it's, I feel like there's a certain level of just common sense that people need to be empowered with.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, I'll be on the phone with an underwriter or something. I'm like, and they're spouting off, hey, this is our rules. And I'm like, no, I get that.
Yeah.
And I respect the fact that we have to have rules.
Sure.
But you got to be empowered to look at the situation objectively and go, this is a little, I understand, right? I understand. And When I had some of my other businesses years ago, it was so much easier when there was like a problem with a client to say, hey, sorry that happened. I'll give you 20% off your next deal.
Sure.
We don't have that luxury.
Right.
And so there is no, consumers, right? Consumers and clients are used to that kind of thing where,
sure,
hey, my sub wasn't
That's a
good.
great point.
Here's a free sub next time.
Right.
Their insurance agent, something goes wrong, and then they're like, I can't do anything. And their perception is that we don't want to, or that we don't care.
It's a really great
And that's
point.
hard. That's hard for them to understand it.
Yeah. Or
you
I'm
don't
not
care.
a part of this process
Right, yeah.
technically.
And they view us as, they forget that we are consumers of insurance before we are agents, right? Like I have to pay my insurance just like anybody else.
Exactly.
And when it goes up, I'm upset too.
Yeah. So after Farmers, where'd you go?
So I left Farmers and took a little hiatus from the insurance industry, but not long, and ended up at a large independent brokerage, we'll say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you like it?
It was
your first step into independence. So was it a good step into independence, or were you like, whoa?
Again, learned a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Learned a lot. When you start your life as a captive, at least in my world, so much of the people will tell you that, independent's bad. You don't want to go independent. Here's all the reasons why it's terrible and why we're better.
Right.
And as you drink that Kool-Aid,
so don't think about it.
Yeah, as you drink that Kool-Aid, and you're like, oh, independence, I'd never want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's only when you really get that either the courage to peek behind the corner, or you have someone that can really objectively tell you what it's like, and all of a sudden your view is a little broader, right? You're seeing a bigger world, and you're like, wow, this isn't the only way to do it. There are many ways to do this. And for me, once I learned kind of the benefits of independent, there was no way I could go back to being captive with any company,
Right.
And so I was super grateful to Farmers, always have been. I learned so much. They had that foundation that I really needed.
Sure.
And I just viewed the independent as taking that next step in the evolution. And, now I've learned this, and now it's time to take it to the next level. Had I tried to do that when I was brand new, I probably would have fallen apart.
Right.
So,
right.
There's definitely value there.
Let me ask you, as a Farmers recruiter, did you buy into the dialogue that you were selling because you were new to the insurance industry and you were like, I was teaching people that our claims are better than their claims, and our compensation maybe is better than their compensation, and it's better to have one than have 40 and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
I've always said, right, that when it comes to sales, if I don't really believe in something, I'm as useless as you'll ever find.
Sure.
Probably the worst salesman you'd ever find if I don't really believe in it.
Sure.
If I do believe in it, I'll go put myself up with anybody. I believed very strongly in the message, in the value proposition, and in everything. And to some degree today, I still see that. Like I said, as
totally.
they have a great.
I've got great
situation.
friends who are Farmers agents making a killing, or I should just say captive agents in general. I've got great friends that are captive agents making a killing. So it's not that you were wrong as the recruiter or the message that you were giving. It's just that there was another message as well.
Yeah, and it came down to me personally. My journey was taking me in a different direction. And for some folks, like I said, I still have people that are captives.
Sure.
And they do great.
Yep, I've got great friends who are killing it. But cool. So small stint at a very large brokerage.
Yeah.
And
I was running their training
how
department.
long did you do that? That was how many years?
Very short. That was only about 2 years. Okay. Yeah, short. Cool. So training, and then running a team of agents as well. Okay. Inside
managing a team of agents.
Right. Yeah. And it was great. Like I said, the structure, the ability to learn things like Easy Links, right? As a captive, I'd never heard of Easy Links. And so being able to really, understand how that works, the benefit of raters, the ability to keep all of these carriers straight in their underwriting guidelines and their appetites. And it was a great way to really understand that world. Yeah. And a great way to learn it before jumping into my own thing.
You know what I always hear that surprises me is when captives come over to independence, they always go, I'm shocked at how nice customer service and underwriters are.
Yeah.
Like I call Safeco or I call whoever, and they're like, yes, we would like to try our best to help you bind this policy.
That's right.
And they're always like, that's amazing. And I'm like, what's amazing about that?
Yeah.
You know, like, isn't every carrier across the spectrum doing that? And they're like, no, not necessarily.
Well, it's not dissimilar to how I'm always shocked when I have a new client and they'll say things to me like, John, I can't believe that when I call you, you answer the phone.
That's amazing too.
And that doesn't seem like an amazing thing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a high bar.
No.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, people should answer
you just like roll under it, you know. But it is amazing that they're, you know, all across our industry.
Yeah.
It happens, and
I know.
I guess good
it's
for
incredible.
me.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I made a video one time of like, if you do these things, you'll be an above average agent.
Yeah.
And all the things that I list off are like really easy things, like answer your phone.
Yeah.
Or have an email address that says at, you know, yourbusinessname.com, you know, like super low bars to like accomplish, but you'll be above average if you do these things.
It's amazing.
You know, so.
It's amazing. But yeah.
All right,
good.
cool.
So,
are insurance agents salespeople or are they field underwriters? This is a philosophical question.
It is.
And there's no right or wrong answer, I don't think.
Yeah.
But where do you fall on that?
So my take on it is this, right? In my life as a consumer, there's nothing more annoying to me than trying to be sold something. Okay. And so I try really hard not to be that guy. Yeah. I don't think we need to be salespeople, to be honest with you. A lot of us are and end up being by default. But if you're selling something, probably not the best way to go. We're educators, really, is what it comes down to. Because I think most of us know that the general population is very ignorant at no...
Sure. They have no idea what 25, 50, 25
no
is.
idea.
And they're going, I live in Highlands Ranch in a $2 million home. I'm driving a 25, 50, 25.
They have no idea.
That's bad?
I know. And it's hard for them to, because when we're not faced with the risk, the reality of the risk every day, it's really easy to dismiss.
Yeah.
But our job is not to sell somebody something. Yeah. If we educate them properly and we explain it and they understand it, they come to us to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then price comes into play and there's other things, but I don't ever view myself as a salesperson. Yeah. Right. A salesperson to me is someone that's really will do anything, say anything to get you to buy something that you may or may not even need. Right. People need insurance.
So you're actually taking a third option.
Yeah.
I didn't give you a third option, but I said salesperson or field underwriter, and you're saying neither. I'm a teacher or I'm an educator.
Yeah. With that, the field underwriting does come into play.
Sure.
So,
Interesting. Happens all the time. I am shocked at how many people I meet where I'm like, you know literally nothing about insurance, right? And they're like, nothing. And I'm like, you're a 45-year-old person. Like, why don't you know anything about it? And they're like, because I'm not an idiot like you, Sean. I'm like, great point. You know, why would you? Or why would you even want to?
Well, I used to tell my agents, and I tell my clients even now today, that if you think about it, from the time we're itty-bitty to all the way through college and beyond, no one at any point
talks to you about insurance.
Pulls us aside and says, you need to understand this.
Right, that's a good point.
Which is odd to me.
That is crazy.
But they don't. And so why would you know about it? It's not so glamorous that you're like, man, I got to go check out insurance.
Which is wild, because then you default to 15 minutes can save me 15 seconds or 15% or more or whatever. Right. And it defaults to that. Yeah. When in reality, you're going, I now own a nice home, and it's full of nice furniture and clothing and you would think you'd go, I should know more about insurance than a phone call is going to save me 15% or more.
Well, and I tell my clients all the time, you know, I said, let's just look at this objectively. Yeah. I said, in what other area of your life do you buy that way?
Yeah, right.
You don't go into the grocery store and say, give me the cheapest meat you have that was expired yesterday. Right. You don't go to the car dealership and say, strip down everything. I want the cheapest car you can buy. You don't do it with your clothes. You don't do it with vacations. You literally don't do it with any aspect of your life. And so why we have that mentality with insurance is, it's a little bit of a mystery to me. I think it's only because people don't understand it. But you're talking about something that is far more important in many cases than some of those things. And yet so many people are just, give me the cheapest thing you got. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
The cheapest thing, that's, who does that?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And when you're talking about, here, especially here in Denver, you got multi-million-dollar homes, and you got Teslas, and you got things that if you need it, better be right. You know?
Yeah, I mean, a starter home in Denver is, what is a starter home in Denver? 550,000 now?
Yeah, over $500,000.
And we're just talking a starter home.
Yeah.
A nothing home.
Nothing. Yeah, it's insane. And so, and that's not even to get into the life insurance side of things, right? Which is, I'm pretty passionate about as well. But
you do all that stuff too?
Yeah. It's, I think any agent, if they do this long enough that has a loss in that area, they'll become passionate about it.
Yeah.
I'm not Jack Jameson, but.
Whoa, name drop! Jack Jameson! Jack Jameson, good man.
Good man. Yeah. I
every time I talk to him, though, I cry. So it's like, what? I stopped talking to him because he's like, can I tell you a story about something? I'm like, no, I'll start crying.
I've had the opportunity to hear him speak many times when I was at Farmers. Yeah. And I'm sure he doesn't know me from a hole in the ground, which is fine. But very inspiring guy.
Yeah, he is.
Something that I think a lot of us should aspire to as far as having that personal connection to insurance and being able to relay that to our clients.
Yeah. How does so? I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
But like to me, well, let me ask it this way.
Yeah.
I'm not a life insurance guy, but is life insurance more of a sales pitch versus property and casualty, or are they equally an educational proposition?
Yeah, it's education.
It's
really
look, I'm not trying to sell you the life insurance policy.
Yeah.
I just want to express to you what this means.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't take us long in life to lose someone and to look at the financial ramifications of that, to go all of a sudden go, life insurance is probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you realize you're an adult because you're buying life insurance. You go from Cancun,
when did I get old?
Drinks in each hand to, can I get some life insurance? It's a tough transition.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. Does your agency have a responsibility in profitability, or is it all the carrier's responsibility? It's kind of the same question, salesperson or field underwriter.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to approach it from a different angle. Does your agency play a role in profitability, or are you going, hey man, I don't create the price points, the carriers do, so that's their responsibility, not mine? Or do you go, I got a role in this?
It's a shared responsibility, I think. Ultimately, you're right. The carriers are the ones that have the army of people that are smarter than me, right? The
PhDs in actuarial,
exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
And so they understand that side of things better than we do. But we are also the boots on the ground. We're the customer facing. We're right there in the communities, and we know when we're writing sketchy business. Let's be honest. When someone comes in and they start telling you their story, and whether or not
I probably shouldn't write this.
Yeah. And my personal experience has been, because when I was a captive agent, my book, I had a pretty large book of non-standard business at that time.
Yeah.
And if I learned anything from that, it was a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like insurance. You either pay for it now or you pay for it later. There's something that's going to give. And that non-standard business, the amount of work that I put into that.
Tons of work.
Was so much more.
Cash payments.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so much more than the more standard business, right? And setting people up on e-sign and setting them up on EFT and the things that
the
make
residual income on the preferred client versus a non-standard client.
So with the non-standard stuff, man, it was a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to do what I do now, and I opened my latest agency here, we were going to focus on preferred business for sure. And so we do have a responsibility, and any of us, myself included, that get upset about rate increases and things, when we know that we're putting questionable business on the books, you can't be too mad, because those losses add up. So if we're putting questionable business out there, but it's tough. Those people have to go somewhere. So it's a tough thing. But the carriers definitely, I think they do have the lion's share there. They have the resources. They have the people that are trained to do these things.
They're the ones who are creating the algorithm.
Yeah. And for me, I'd rather them, I know it sucks, but I'd rather have them tell me up front that they don't want the business and let everybody go about their lives than,
That's a perfect example of how a carrier can drive you nuts, right? Where they think they understand your world. And so they're walking you through their quote, and then on the very last screen, after you've wasted a half hour, They're like, oh, we don't want this piece of business.
Yeah.
And you're like, if you understood my world,
Yeah.
you would have told me that on the first screen.
Right. Right.
Or as soon as you got a piece of information in
Yeah.
this system that you said, we're not so sure we want this client,
Yeah.
you would have told me that ASAP.
And one of the things that drives me crazy is, from my perspective, why ever turn business away? Now, I can understand rating accordingly.
Yeah.
And there are times where I've looked at a proposal and I'm like, I don't know that I even feel comfortable telling the person what this is going to cost.
Yeah.
And yet you sit down and present it to them, they're like, oh my gosh.
You just saved me $3,000.
I'm like, what?
It's $16,000.
Yeah. I'm like, are you like, that's amazing. Can I do that today? I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay.
Yes.
I kind of feel bad about this.
I want to see your cars first, though.
Exactly.
Something's going on here.
But, it's assuming that you know that person's situation, assuming that they won't,
Right.
So rather than turn it away, and I've had some carriers that drive me crazy. They're like, well, they don't have 6 months of insurance, so let them go to our competitor and then come back.
Right.
Like, they're not coming back, right? Like, once they're gone, it's a lot harder to draw them back than it is just to keep them happy.
There was money that was spent to get this client here to this point.
Yeah.
The idea is not to make them go away and have to come find me again later.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same reason, you don't tell your girlfriend to go date Matthew McConaughey for 6 months and then come back and see how I'm doing.
He's not aging all that well. I saw a video of him the other day and I was like, whoa, he's looking rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Or pick your poison, I guess.
What's he going to be? Is he going to become the governor of Texas? I think, is that what he's working on?
I don't know.
I
thought he was going back to the mothership, but I don't know.
What's the mothership?
I'm just
back
teasing.
to Hollywood or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. We're transitioning now to funniest story in insurance. And it doesn't matter if it's a customer or you were recruiting somebody or just something funny happened in the office one day where you were like, it was hilarious. But some point in your insurance career, the funniest thing that's happened in your insurance career.
The one that comes to mind anyway is I don't know how funny it is, but it was shocking, right?
Okay, good. Yeah, shocking's
so
good.
I had a client that I'd had for quite a while.
I should say shocking can be funny.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Apparently, unbeknownst to me, they were getting a divorce.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I had the one lady come into my office and real heated, and I would pay my insurance. And
I hate that guy.
Yeah, tell me their story and make these changes. And okay. So we do. Not more than 10 minutes later, here comes the other half, right? and just, again, heated and wanting to tell me. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, this has been 3 hours of my day.
Drama, not my drama.
So then he leaves, and again, not more than 10 minutes. I don't know if they were sitting in the parking lot going, tag, you're it. But we went back and forth for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And having to tell them, hey, you guys are both on this policy. You both have legal. What do you want me to do? And so it was. It was interesting.
Were they like I want to remove coverage?
Yeah.
And then one would come back in and be like, put that coverage back.
And it was.
You're like, I have to honor both of this.
Yeah. It was do this and let me tell you why this person's terrible and let us tell you your history.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
this is why we're getting a divorce.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah. So it's one of those
what's
skills.
funny is every insurance agent has that story.
I know.
Where they're like, yeah, I had to deal with a divorce, and these two people hate each other now, and now I have to hear the stupid story, and they're telling me everything about their life.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just want to get the thing done.
Yeah.
Am I removing the Mercedes-Benz and putting on a BMW? Because
Exactly.
if that's what we're doing, I'd like to do that for you, and I don't want to know all the horrible ways in which he cheated on you.
Right. Exactly. And it's funny because going back to, it's odd that I'm in this industry. My personality, I'm not a backstory person at all.
Yeah.
I'm a very, tell me what you need, I'll do it. Now we're done, right?
Yeah.
Very,
that's
very
right.
dry.
That's right.
And yet in this industry, you really, all
Get
of
into
us know,
that.
it's counseling sometimes. And people just want someone to talk to, and that's okay. But that's one of the more challenging aspects of this career.
Yeah, of making money. Because you're like, look, this counseling session will be held to 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell me anything you want.
Yep.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm qualified to talk to you about this, is what I want to say most of the time,
You probably should.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think I'm qualified for this conversation.
Yeah, and so I've had people tell me some very alarming things sometimes where you're just like,
I believe it.
I don't want to know this,
Yeah.
and now I'm not sure what to do with this information.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally get that. Totally get that.
Yeah.
I bet you every agent listening is going, yep, I've got that divorce story where they came in and screamed at each other in front of me.
Yeah.
Did I tell you, I'm not sure if I've told this one time, but one time I was a rep and I walked into an office and it was a husband and a wife office. They were working together. And I walked in, and I'm a playful person, so I walk in, and they're like, it's pretty cold in the office.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, are you guys fighting or something? It's like so cold in this office. You guys are like, there's some like real bad energy in this office. And they look at each other, and they're like, well, and they just start like tearing into each other. I'm like,
yeah,
I was just joking.
Yeah.
I want out now. And I was kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Really bad
And
stuff.
it sounds like you're probably a lot like I am, where one of the things I struggle with is being serious sometimes. Like some things are serious, and you do have to be serious about some things. But anyone that knows me personally knows that there's very few times
You actually want to be
that
serious.
I'm very serious,
Yeah,
you know, and sometimes people have a hard time in the beginning just going, I don't know if you're joking or not. And you can almost always assure that I am.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it light.
Except for you being a Chippendales dancer. That was
That's
an actual
deadly
thing.
serious. Yeah.
That was an actual thing.
Yeah. You know.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I can see it, though. I can totally see it. You have that look.
That's funny.
That silver fox look.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so what do you think what do you think about, what is this question? This is a horribly worded question.
Okay.
We'll probably have to edit this all out.
Awesome.
Because usually I don't like looking down at my notes and reading the question, but it says, what do you think carriers think about independent agents? That actually is a good question. So we kind of touched on this, but what do you think carriers are saying in their halls of their, their
white
their
marble halls.
1 million square foot building, and they're going, independent insurance agents, this is what we're talking about. This is what we're saying about them. What do you think they're saying about them?
I think it varies by the carrier.
Okay.
I think different ones have different outlooks and probably look a little more favorably than others. Honestly, I think a lot of times they discount what we bring and
The
what we
value
do
of what
and
you
the
bring.
and the real necessity for us being here.
Okay.
Can you train a bot to just write some policies? You can. But it's a lot harder to train a bot to fulfill, like I said, that counselor role.
Yeah, the empathy role.
The empathy role, which is what really
The
latches
education
somebody
role.
in and goes, man, my agent understands me.
Yeah.
They care what happens to me.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone loves taking, as soon as you call 1-800 number and it's like, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. And after about 5 minutes, you're like, I almost don't care anymore. I just want to go jump off a bridge.
I don't even want to do business with this company
Exactly.
anymore. Yeah.
It's just insane. And so being able to have a voice and a little bit of, personality every now and again, right? So joke around with somebody. It's amazing how most people in their life, all they need is just a little sunshine. They just need a smile. They need something to brighten their day. And it's amazing how far that goes. And I think that most carriers don't understand the value of that as much as the counting of the beans, right? Does this fit into our box? Is our underwriting guideline?
It's a really good point. I think carriers sometimes go, we use that specific distribution channel to do what we need to do. But as soon as we can kill that distribution channel, we will. Yeah. And some carriers are like, we will always use you. It's really interesting because even the carriers that are like, we are designed to destroy independent insurance agents are still turning to independent insurance agents and going, well, it turns out you guys write more profitable business.
Yeah, I know.
And you guys are a very powerful distribution arm. So we know we've told the world that we don't like you and we were designed to destroy you, but we want to start using you now because everything you write is more profitable than what our bots write.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to just imagine what are all of the carriers thinking and saying about their distribution channel.
And not to get too philosophical or whatever, but, for me, it's going to make it sound so old, and I guess I don't care, but, it kind of goes back to just the technology in general, right? We've become so technologically advanced that we've isolated ourselves from each other. It's amazing how often I go and interview somebody for a producer position or do something, and kids these days, right?
Whoa.
But not even kids, just people in general. They've lost the ability to do this.
It's true. It absolutely
They've lost the ability to have those interpersonal communications, and they're valuable.
Yeah.
And I think people discount how valuable they really are.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Even that wit that you're talking about,
Yeah.
with that quick wit that you're talking about, like when a customer calls and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you've called me now 3 times in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
You have used your last
Yeah,
call.
exactly. You're out of questions.
I'm not going to make any
Right.
more money if you call me again. So don't
Yeah.
until your renewal.
I think
And say it with a smile on your face and have
Yeah.
them be like, I get it. That's a joke. And you're
I-
like, that is a joke. You can call me all you want because I
Yeah.
love you, but stop seriously calling me.
I think to sum it up, I think the carriers sometimes forget that we humanize them.
Yeah.
Right? That otherwise you're just a faceless, nameless corporation to these people, and we as agents bring the humanity that we humanize the company.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So, and you have to have that, otherwise people just don't care about you, and there's no loyalty anymore.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's a really good point. Yeah. What do you think they understand about independent insurance agents? But this is, what do you think they understand about independent insurance agents, but they get all wrong?
I think in their mind, we are like, there's no loyalty, right? That we'll turn on a dime.
Oh, interesting
And
answer.
I think that they're wrong. I think that, those carriers that have really made a concerted effort to make our lives easier, to make it easy to do business with, there's a strong loyalty to those companies.
A very good answer.
And I won't name a carrier by name, but
but you love them.
My
you don't love
agents
them
used
'cause
to
they're the
tease me that
cheapest
we had a
price.
bromance between me and this, this carrier.
Yeah.
Because they were just easy to do business with,
Yeah.
and easy to get a hold of, easy to talk to, easy when you talk to the underwriters, and it seemed like they at least had the humanity to go, yeah, I get this. You can't always say yes, but man, it was just night and day between them and some of the other carriers, and so there's loyalty that's built by making our lives easier. You help me help you, right? Is that the phrase? So you make my life easy, I humanize it for you, and it makes it easier for me to sell more product for you.
I love that answer. I would bet they would. I bet you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They would think agents have no loyalty.
Yeah.
They're selling the lowest price.
Right.
And that's absolutely not the right answer.
Absolutely not.
That is not the case at all.
Yeah.
I meet agents that go, I could care less about the lowest price. I love using this carrier because they help facilitate me becoming a $100 an hour agent.
Yep.
I hate using this carrier because they don't.
Yeah.
They provide me the tools to win,
And-
to get stuff done quickly, so
Yeah.
I can write a policy in a hotel room.
Exactly.
I'm dying to get down to the beach and lay on my beach chair. I have to knock out a policy in 15 minutes so my significant other isn't mad that we're in a hotel room.
That's right.
Wasting time writing a policy in a hotel room.
That's right.
So the carrier that's going to facilitate that 15-minute transaction and
Yeah.
get me to that beach chair so my wife isn't mad at me
Right.
is the carrier that I'm going to love.
Investing
it has nothing to do with price.
Yeah, it's amazing how often that I'll see them change things, like even on their website, and I'm like, man, whoever designed this, you can tell was never an agent.
Yeah.
And if I had to give one small, humble piece of advice, it's whatever person is in there, they should have been an agent at some point.
Yeah.
If you've never lived that life, you've never walked it, there's no possible way, going back to what I said before, even where I thought that I knew.
Yeah,
I really
it's true.
did.
It's true.
And
I thought I did
it's-
too.
Yeah.
And then I jumped over to this this side of the equation, and I work 10 times harder than I used to work
Yeah.
on the carrier side.
Yeah.
And it's 10 times more complicated.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm all about dumb analogies and simple things. I used to tell my agents all the time that, you have a Little Caesars pizza, right?
Yeah.
You can get a Little Caesars pizza for $8.
Yeah.
You can get a Anthony's pizza for $25.
Right.
They both have crust. They both have sauce. They both have cheese. Why on earth would anyone pay $25 for the same thing, seemingly, that you can get for $8?
Right.
It's quality.
Right.
There's so many other things, right?
It's so funny you're saying this because on Thursday I'm doing another podcast with Christos. I don't know how to pronounce Christos' last name, but he actually had a family-owned business, and I
nice.
think it was a pizzeria.
That's
and one of my questions I'm going to ask him on Thursday is, okay, so you owned a pizzeria.
Yeah.
There's 30 pizzerias in every city.
Yeah.
And there's 30 agents in every city.
At least, yeah.
How do you differentiate a pizzeria from another pizzeria?
Yeah.
And how do you differentiate an insurance agency from another insurance agency?
Yep.
You know, but to your point, exactly. I will never put a Little Caesars piece of pizza in my mouth.
Right.
Like the last time I did was 8 years ago, and I was like, this is horrible. This is never going in my mouth again.
Yeah.
And I'll pay $23-$24 for Anthony's pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Quality over quantity, right? Yeah. Exactly. So, and insurance is no different, right? And you have to get people to understand that. That, on the surface, they look very similar, these carriers. That's a good point. But when you look at it, there is a difference. There is, you know.
A significant difference.
And what are you willing to pay for? And again, do you go back to your life? You know, if you eat a Little Caesars pizza, do you always also buy cheap everything?
Right.
Nobody does that.
That's a good point.
Nobody does.
What does your tech stack look like? You mentioned you weren't. I think you mentioned you weren't super tech savvy, or so. Do you have a tech stack? Is it something you spend time on, or are you like, whatever? I do what I do, and it works for me.
I'm pretty tech savvy.
Oh, okay.
I just am not very social media.
Okay.
Loving.
Okay.
So I try to keep things as simple as possible. To be honest with you. There are things, if I can do anything better, obviously, this embracing of automation, embracing of AI, embracing of some of this is something that deep down I know I have to do to evolve and be better. Social media is one of those things that it just seems like no matter how much I know, it can be an amazing, powerful tool. Yeah. There's just something in me that can't bring myself to do it.
Doesn't want to go there. Yeah.
I have a Facebook page. I have, these things, but I don't really use them much. I just don't see the point,
sure.
and so it's tough. So a tech stack's pretty simple. We have a normal rater. We have a normal management system. We have a very well-defined process, and that process seems to work well. And so we don't try to break it. I probably should embrace.
Is that process defined in a technology, or is it not? Like what we used to use something called Process Street, which defines processes.
Yeah.
And it's cheap and affordable, and it's like, great, we can put the processes in place. Yeah. So that people have to check the box that then pops out the email or whatever, and it kind of forces the process.
There's some products on the market, and I won't name them mostly because I can't remember the name.
Sure.
But that will, like one of my good buddies was like, hey, you got to get this program. Send a link to somebody, and it just pulls all their information.
Yeah, that's Canopy Connect.
He said it, not me. Yeah. But in any case,
I hear it's amazing.
I hear it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have yet to.
I don't understand it though.
Implement it.
Yeah.
And again, to me, there's just a certain level of humanity, and I guess for lack of a better term, I want to see that there's a little skin in the game for people. If people aren't willing to even fill out a form for me, then we're not doing this together, right? It's me then extracting information to sell you something. Yeah. And I don't like that feeling. I like being able to say, hey, here's what I need from you. Yeah. In exchange from that, here's what I'm going to give to you.
Yeah, right.
And there's an exchange of
and that starts the process of we're both buying into this process.
Yes. And it builds value, right? It's if you have to do something, if you have to put in even if it's a little bit of your time, then what you get out of it should be more valuable to you. If you've had to do nothing for it, then you don't really care, because what are you out? You're out nothing, And so I have not implemented some of those things.
I've heard that Canopy Connect's amazing.
I've heard it's amazing.
Which is funny because from my perspective as the interviewer, it comes up on every single podcast, but as the interviewer, I go, so it's just a link that you send to your customers, and then their current deck pages come to you. So that you can now see things apples to apples and quote things, so that you don't have to ask them to fill out a form of 25 questions or 36 questions. Yeah. And I can see the value of that. I can too. I can actually see the value of that. But if you have an amazing process already,
it works,
and you're already getting the information, and it takes you 5 minutes to just go, okay, I got 25 questions for you. We're going to knock these out in 5 minutes. Yeah. Then I could also see somebody going, well, so all Canopy Connect does is gets me their current deck page?
Yeah.
So
they'll send it to me anyway,
right?
And in my experience,
or they'll send it to me anyway because of the way I lovingly ask or playfully ask.
When I interact with them and I say, here's what I need, I have yet to have anyone say no, or just not give me what I need.
I guess that's my point.
Doesn't happen. I just ask them for it and they send it to me.
Having said that, I get both sides of the argument. Like if I were you, I'd be like, I got a process. I always get what I need.
Yeah.
Because of how I playfully ask or whatever.
Right.
I could see other agents go, it's amazing because I'm no longer quoting something and being $300 higher than the incumbent.
Yep.
And going, well, dang it, I didn't even know that you had that one coverage. I had no idea. You know?
And we do get that information. We just get it in a more hands-on way, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's the best way.
Which builds relationship and
it works,
gives you an opportunity to be playful. And
so I've seen it in action. It is pretty amazing. And I think agents that use it are streamlined, and I don't fault them for it. I know just in my world, it's tough. You know, it's like, well, every time I ask somebody for something, they put it together and they send it to me within minutes. We have all the information we need.
And it's good.
We have a good closing ratio, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It has yet to persuade me to.
Anything else that you use from a tech perspective?
You know, no, we're real basic.
Okay.
Real basic. We use, like I said, our management system, easy links, your traditional. I'm with you, though, about the email signatures.
Yeah.
It's amazing
but
how
that's
often,
built into the management system.
Well, meaning that, you should have an email that says.
Oh, I see. At my insurance
I've never understood agents that have it at gmail.com.
I can't even fathom.
I don't know.
I can't even fathom.
I'd love to talk to them about that and wonder why. That's odd to me. But
it's got to be like
such a simple thing.
It's got to be like put your arm around them and be like, you realize it will take you 10 minutes to get your own email address. And then, oh, really? It's that easy?
There's just something more professional about it.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
Who's your favorite carrier and why?
Oh, man.
By the way, agents always kind of like, I don't want to say it because then I'll make everybody else upset. Nobody's ever caught flack for being like, I really like this carrier. They make my life better.
Just
for the record.
I think if I had to say, probably Safeco. Yeah. Safeco over the years they're just easy to do business with.
I agree.
They're easy to do business with. And the little things, they seem to understand the little things. These little spins and things they do. To them, it might seem silly, but to an agent, it's a big deal.
It's something.
It is.
Yeah.
And
calling their customer service, they get answers. They pick up the phone. It's fast.
They don't seem to have unnecessary steps to harass insureds after the sale, if I could say that. And so I've had conversations with carrier reps and things over the years where I just said, hey, why do I place more business here? Because they're easy to place business with.
They make my life
better. They might not
better.
even be the cheapest. You might be cheaper than them.
Yeah.
Your price is lower.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Because dealing with you is stressing me out, and I got enough gray hair.
Yeah.
I didn't have any gray hair before I started in insurance. So it's just about ease of doing business.
You know what? You want to hear a funny story? I'll use Safeco as it's not an example. This is a real life story.
Yeah.
I used to work at an insurance agency like 20 years ago. And Safeco was different back then. It was just a completely different thing than it is today that you know today.
Yeah.
But Safeco ran like an incentive at our agency where they're paying $50 an app or something.
Yeah.
And I was a young, poor college student.
Yeah.
I needed money bad. I think maybe I was just married, college student, working full time. I needed money. And they're running this incentive for $50 an app. Now, again, I love Safeco, so I just want to preface that.
Yeah.
But back then, 20 years ago, I remember the Safeco rep would come in and be like, hey, I just gave your colleague a $500 check because he wrote 50 Safeco or 10 Safeco policies.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. He's like, I would like to give you money. And I'm going, oh, I'm never using your system.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't like interacting with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
He's like, fine. Well, just so you know, you're leaving money on the table. And I'm like, fine. I don't care because I'm not going to go down that road of pain. Right. And it's just another perfect example of how an agent will go, I have chosen what makes my life better.
Yeah.
And what makes my life more peaceful and what makes my work experience more delightful.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go down the road of banging my head for, more money or extra compensation or anything. Like, I found the carriers I like, and it's not you, and I'm going this way.
And
I just want to preface, I do love Safeco, and that was 20 years ago, and that was a completely different situation and scenario. But
it highlights
it.
And it highlights the fact that a lot of carriers and people don't understand that money is not the sole motivator.
Right.
That a lot of people are motivated by other things.
Right. They're motivated by not getting yelled at by a client when something gets screwed up.
Time is money.
There's
money. There's nothing more precious in life than time. Right. And so if you're taking my time, that is that's worse to me than a little bit of money. And I've been doing this long enough that any of us out there that they're still doing it, you don't always sell on price. And so money becomes somewhat secondary in a lot of cases, right? It's relationship based, it's ease of doing business. It's, hey, if I have a problem, I want to be able to get somebody on the phone. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah. You might have to edit this out. I don't know what we can talk about, but you look at here in Denver, we have an airline, Frontier Airlines.
Yeah, totally. Drives me insane. I will never fly Frontier Airlines.
Insane. And I tell people I have never taken a Frontier Airlines flight where I haven't heard multiple people around me going, I will never do this again.
Yeah, totally.
And again, they have planes, they do everything else. It's seemingly on the surface that another carrier would.
It's a Little Caesar's pizza.
It is, but when you have a problem and I want to change something, I can't just call somebody and talk to them. I can't plead my case. I can't have the humanity. There's nothing. It's a faceless, nameless blob. Right. And man, all of a sudden money becomes secondary to people.
It's another perfect example. If the comparative rater is airlines and the cheapest flight is Frontier, and the second cheapest flight is Spirit, and the third cheapest price or the third one down is Southwest.
Yeah.
I love Southwest.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's $50 more expensive.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there. I know how everything works, and I have faith. I know some people don't have faith in Southwest right now, but I have faith in the airline. I have faith in the boarding process. I have faith in all of it. And that's the one I'm going to go with. And I don't care that there's two cheaper options.
You don't care. And it's amazing how you talk about having a low bar, right? Is a lot of us, when we fly, we just want something very basic.
Yeah.
We want to be treated with respect. Yep. We want you to be on time, do what you say you're going to do, and in comfort, right? I don't want to feel like I'm miserable.
Right.
And it's such a low bar, it seems, but yet so many of them struggle, and in our industry, it's the same thing. It's such a low bar. People want to be treated with respect. They want you to do what they say they're going to do.
Right.
Same with agents. When it comes to carriers, we just want you to respect what we do, respect what we bring, do what you say you're going to do, et cetera. Like it's all a very universal, thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I got you.
This hard market.
Yeah, right. You definitely don't want to be that. This hard market is how's your day-to-day changed since things have kind of gotten harder?
That's a funny question.
Everything I just said about all the carriers,
they've
made my life a living hell.
Someone's asked me that, right? No, I like any agent. I'm not immune to it.
Sure.
It's difficult, right?
Yeah.
But I'm an optimistic person. I tend to try to look at the better side of things. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything positive coming out of this hard market, is kind of like what COVID did for us in a sick way, is that it's forcing people to look at their insurance, and it's forcing them to have conversations around it. And so it's a real opportunity for us to educate the general population about why we do what we do, why the things happen the way they happen, things that they can do to help mitigate these problems. Like people don't always understand that, hey, you not texting and driving seems like a very small, individualistic, nothingness thing. Yeah. But multiply that by everyone on the road, and I'm telling you, our rates are going to come down.
Right.
You want lower rates? Here's something you personally
can do. That $500 deductible. Yeah. $500 isn't what it used to be. So why don't we bump you up to $1,500 deductible? Yeah. I'll save you the same amount of money.
Yeah. So it's the tough ones are those conversations where you have that real tight relationship with people and you don't want anything to go wrong. And for some reason, if anybody out there in whatever land is like me, it just always seems like the one or two policies you're like, this is my personal friend, or I want nothing to go wrong with this. Right. those are the ones where it goes sideways, right? Like you can write 1,000 policies and everything's fine. And they're like, man, this is my best friend in the world. I need nothing to go wrong with this. And that's where
the claim falls apart.
The craziest things come out of the sky and start to go sideways. But so my day-to-day has changed as far as just having more conversations, right? When things are good, people don't want to talk about insurance, and it's very quiet.
It's a faster, slicker process.
A little more transactional.
Yeah.
But now people are asking questions. Yeah. And they have a lot more questions about things that they never, you kind of surprised they know about. They educate themselves more. And so when someone's rate goes up, 30, 40, 60%.
Yeah, I know.
It's time to have a conversation.
It is, absolutely.
And some people will understand it, and some people will, as you explain it to them, and other people don't want to hear it. Yeah. It's what it is.
I just thought of this, but do you think it's interesting? The insurance industry relies on the independent insurance agents to have this conversation. Yeah. Hey, go ahead and educate America for us. Do you think the insurance carriers have any responsibility of educating everybody about what's going on? Or I would love it if a carrier would step up and say, we're going to help you, insurance agents, educate why this is happening and occurring, as opposed to just being like, good luck, John. Yeah. It's horrible.
Can't even
go
wait
tell him.
Can't even wait to see how you explain this one. Yeah, it's almost like a game. Like, let's try this. I want to see him explain it. I would love
it if the carriers would jump in and say, "Hey, we can help educate America."
These carriers have multi-million-dollar marketing budgets, right? And they have, in a lot of cases, recognizable faces and things that instead of being so playful all the time and acting like everything's great, maybe having a PSA and having Jack Black or whoever it is that come out and say, hey, America, I want to explain to you why you should go
rates went up too.
Why you should go hug your local insurance agent.
Right.
Because here's what we're dealing with and here's the causes. And the more educated people become about it, the easier those conversations become. Yeah. They're not pleasant and nobody likes it. I like my rate going up 3 times, but
I also didn't like spending $8 for a dozen eggs.
Exactly.
I hated that too.
I hate that too. Yeah.
And so it's just interesting.
Yeah. I think that they should bear some of that. And sometimes the marketing to me, I'll be sitting at home at night and I'll see a commercial come on. And I'm like, man, they sure seem jovial. It's like,
I wish they'd take this 30 seconds to do some education.
Let's be real for a second, about what this is and what we're dealing with. Doesn't have to always be so serious, but something.
Find a jovial way to deliver a serious message.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, what happens is, and I know every agent out there listening can relate to this, how many times a client has said, you raised my rate.
Right.
I didn't raise your rate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't do that.
Right.
I'm here to help you try to mitigate that as much as possible, but it becomes very personal. People get very personal and they view the agent as the one that's making these changes when reality is, we all know, we don't have that many levers to pull. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, cool. It gets personal real fast.
It does. It gets crazy.
People get passionate.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy though. I mean, insurance agents are seeing 30, 40, 50, 60% rate increases as well. So it's like when they call, it's like, I know this is hurting me too.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone that's
really enjoying this.
It's not easy, but people don't understand.
We just added our teenager driver to our policy as well.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah.
It hurts us.
And, those agents out there, and there are some out there that will skirt systems and do things that they shouldn't. It hurts us at large, all of us that are in this industry.
By the way, those agents who think they are getting away with it, they're not.
I know.
Insurance companies can see every single keystroke. They can see when you go forward into the rater and backwards into the rater and add the wife and then remove the wife and then change the wife's name and then remove the husband and then change the husband's name and then go forward. And your fingerprints are on every single keystroke.
That's right.
And any agent that thinks they're getting away with anything is not. They're just not doing it to a degree yet that a carrier's gone, it's time.
Yeah.
But a carrier can see everything.
Yeah.
And almost every carrier can see everything.
I believe it. I believe it. They just got to do it right. Just do it right the first time.
That's right.
You know, and
that's right.
It'll come around.
That's right.
You know.
Okay. Is a client always right?
No. Not at all. I don't even know how to say it. Like most of the time, right? And I actually had if you want to hear a funny story.
Let's do it.
So I just flew in from Detroit last night. Had to go out there for a day. And I witnessed the funniest thing. This lady, we stand up and everyone's getting their bags. And she goes to this guy and she says, "That's my bag."
Uh-huh.
And he's like looking at her like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "That's my bag." And she real curtly says, "Do you want to open it and see that it's my stuff?" Yeah. And all of a sudden she looks and realizes it's not her bag, you know? And it's just, she felt stupid and sheepish and kind of walked off. And the guy's like, "What is this person?" You know?
Right.
But it was that there's a right way and a wrong way to have that conversation.
Sure.
If you could have just said, "Oh, excuse me, you know,
I think you have my bag."
But it was very accusatory, very, intense. And clients, they don't know what they don't know. Yeah. And so sometimes they come at us guns blazing, or they get
you raised my rates.
Yeah. It's like,
wait a second.
Oh man, if you just had the information, I promise you would go about this a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so the challenge obviously is to diffuse the situation enough where someone will listen to you long enough, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh yeah, okay. It is my 7 DUIs that's causing that rate increase." After all.
Oh, you guys found out about the 7th one?
I told you I only had 4. I got 6.
Yeah. I get it. I didn't realize you had a way of finding out.
I know. Yeah. It's like, guys, we're going to find out.
That one happened just 4 weeks ago. How could you know already?
Yeah. And I think clients, if they want to be right more often, just be honest with us, right? Just tell us, just be straight. Yeah. I know it's a tough conversation. It's a weird conversation, but I always tell people, it's like going into your doctor. Right. Don't go into your doctor, and if you're having pain in your side, tell him it's your shoulder. Right. Because then he's going to work on your shoulder, and you're going to die of whatever. And so same with your insurance agent. If you have a real concern around price and there's a reason, help them understand that. Talk to them about it so they can focus and work with you on that. But so many people are like, "Oh, all I care about is this," and then you work something up only to find out that their situation is completely different. Yeah. It's like, well, if you told me that, we could have saved ourselves a lot of grief. Right, I would have told you that none of these carriers were in business with 7 DUIs. And I could have given you the number to Fred Loya. That's weird.
I wonder if that's like human nature, though. Like, to use the doctor analogy, like how many men go in and see their general practitioner? Yeah. And the general practitioner goes, "How's it going?" And you're like, "I'm just here for a physical. Let's do this." And he's like, "Okay, but I want to know how's it going." And like, how many men go, "Well, I've been struggling a little bit. I'm depressed, or I'm sad, or I have anxiety, or whatever." And if people go into the doctor and they're like, "I'm not telling you," it's like, "I'm the best person you could tell. I can help you.
This is the guy to tell.
This is the person." And you're like, "Okay, well, I'm not telling you because I'm a guy or because I don't feel like it." And so I just wonder if that's like human nature to be like, "I'm your insurance agent. There's nobody better to tell that you have 7 DUIs than me, because then I'll get you to the right place." I'm not going to take advantage of you. I'm just going to get you to where you belong.
That's the benefit of Chippendales. They want us in peak physical condition.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're always there. Always there. Yeah. Always working the calves.
That's right. You don't skip calf day.
Never
That's crazy.
Never skip calf day.
But you're right. I mean, it's like, that's why we have private offices, right? So we don't sit on the corner. Let's sit together, have an honest conversation. Right. I'm not judging you. Right. And in fact, I think clients sometimes, not to be whatever, but they maybe think we care more than we do. Yeah, right. Like, I just need the information from you.
I don't care what your driving record looks like.
I can't tell you, and again, I think everyone out there can relate to this, how often I've sent somebody something. I said, "I'm going to send you what I need from you." And then they send me an email back arguing with me about, why do you need this? Why do you need that? Listen to me. If I didn't need it, I promise you it wouldn't be on there. Yeah. I need it for a reason.
Ask crap that I don't need.
Just give me the information and we can move on. If I'm not asking you about your sister's name, because guess what? I don't need that information. Right. I'm not asking you where you were born, because I don't care.
Unless she lives at your house.
That's right. Yeah. But it's one of those things that, like, they just, for whatever reason, they don't want to be embarrassed, or there's something that holds them back from just being straight and efficient with the information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Coolest agent you know? In the history of your time as an insurance agent, who's the coolest guy you met? or girl.
Wow. I have had the pleasure of knowing many agents over my career that I really respect, and have learned so much from all of them, and are so much cooler than I'll ever be. But I would have to say Jeff Holtman. You know Jeff Holtman and his brother Shannon?
Those are
The
cool
Holtman
guys.
boys?
Those are
Yeah.
cool guys.
Yeah.
They're
Just
actually pretty cool dudes.
very, very cool, very genuine. They know this business. They know what they're doing.
Yep.
And it's interesting because anytime I've ever thought
They present
that I
well,
have
they look
the
good.
ability to
Yeah.
kind of schmooze,
Yeah.
sitting back and watching those guys at work is
Yeah.
a master class.
Yeah,
It's
they're good.
incredible. The ability to connect with people, to make insurance cool when it's not cool,
Yeah.
is
With bald heads.
I know. Yeah.
I know.
I did one of those apps one time. Have you ever done one of those little filters where it makes you look like you're bald?
Yeah, I have a screensaver.
Yeah.
It hasn't popped up. I don't know why, but there's a bald picture
I
of me.
did that and sent the picture to Jeff one time saying, "Can I join the club? You know, if I'm cool enough, can I shave my head?" But
He's like, yes.
Yeah.
Meet me in the MMA octagon. And
Yeah,
you're like, whoa. I
exactly.
don't want to join the club anymore.
I always tell people I think I missed the memo on two things. I missed the memo that everyone I know was supposed to be a dentist.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one of my friends that's not a dentist. You know?
Seriously. When was dentistry?
I don't
like
know.
a
I must
thing?
have stepped out to use the restroom. I came back and what I miss? Oh, nothing. We're all dentists already. Oh, okay.
When did dentistry become the coolest thing?
I don't know, but everybody knows a dentist, and so and then I missed the memo on being bald. You know, I didn't know that as we age, I was supposed to go bald.
I've always wanted to
didn't.
shave my head with a Bic razor. Like,
I've never done it.
Completely done it.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to do it. Like
Yeah.
I was just about to say something bad, but I've always wanted to shave my head.
yeah. I feel like if I shave my head, then I got to get tattoos, and then I got to
I'll
go down
just
a whole
say
other.
if somebody that I love gets cancer, I'm
Yeah.
going to shave my head happily.
I know
In
almost kinda-
support of them, I'll be like,
Yeah.
I mean, not yes to the cancer, but
Yeah.
like, this is great. I'm going to get to shave my head.
Yeah,
Is that bad? Is that bad to say?
No,
I don't think so, right?
no. All bald, beautiful people out there, I see you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see you. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Holtmans, like I said, learned a ton. Shannon, Jeff's brother, and I officed together for a time. When
You did?
He and
Over in those
Jameson.
brown ones over there
Yeah.
off of Arapahoe?
Yep. And learned
Those
a
are
lot
cool
from him as
offices
well.
with the loft up top and stuff. I
fun.
like that.
Yeah. So learned a lot from them.
They're cool guys.
And they're just cool guys.
They
You
are
know,
cool
they're
guys.
the kind that you can see them connect with someone in a way that makes insurance disarming and fun and cool. You know, it's cool to be an
Shannon
insurance
just
agent.
left Farmers.
Yeah, man, never.
Was he a district manager? He was an agency owner. He was a district manager, but he was an agency owner.
Yeah.
When he left, he was an agency owner, right?
Successful in both areas, yeah.
Wow.
If you had told 2008 me that would ever occur, I never would have believed
You
it.
would have been like, no
Yeah,
chance.
he was the guy. But you know, we all evolve in our careers,
Right.
and he
I
is
gotta
out there
get
doing
him.
what he's
I
got
gotta
to do.
get him in here and have a chat with him.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, he's a fascinating guy.
I think that would be a
So-
fun conversation.
Yeah, very cool guys. So
Yeah. Okay. Advice. We're almost at the end
Okay.
now. I mean, we're coming up on it. So, advice you would give your younger self.
you know, I think like any insurance agent, I'd like to say start sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. As I get deeper into my career, there's things that I had to learn to be successful. You know, so if I had tried to start doing what I do now when I was
22.
fresh out of
Yeah.
would I have been successful at it? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would just I would probably tell myself, you know, just to relax a little. This can be a very stressful business.
Yeah, that's true.
And if anybody out there is like me, there's no one that's a harsher critic of me than myself. And so when something goes sideways with a policy, while it shouldn't matter, you know, if you got one policy amidst thousands, you shouldn't really care. I feel like I could almost tell you every policyholder
Time
that's
that's
ever gone
happened,
sideways in my agency. And
Because it causes that much stress in your life.
it does.
Yeah, it does. I know.
You have to look at your failings and what did I do?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I really messed this up for this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And so being able to let go of that a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, and saying, hey, it's okay. You know, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes and just relax. It's all right.
Yeah.
I probably would be a little more of a relaxed person. That and probably just I would start sooner. I would have, if I had the opportunity to go back and start the process sooner and understand and dive deep into it, right?
Yeah.
Rather than kind of, I think I might want to do this. I think I might want to do this.
Yeah. This
Before
looks
really
like a fun
committing to it.
industry. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll poke at it for a while.
Yeah. Just really going after it.
Yeah.
And going after it 100%. That's what I'd tell myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, then I wouldn't have to get into dancing. So,
Yeah, but dancing's been good. Like, hey, that's tax-free money.
That is, right? It's all under the table.
I think. I have no idea. This is a whole world I don't know anything about.
That's funny.
Except for the skit that I saw on Saturday Night Live.
Hey, there you
with
go.
Patrick Swayze
It's
and
very accurate. Yeah, very accurate.
Chris Farley.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
If anyone out there has never seen it.
Is Patrick Swayze still alive?
No.
So they're both dead.
Yeah.
From that skit.
I think so. Am I wrong in that?
I think you're right.
I think he's gone. Yeah. No, he is.
Well,
yeah.
Chris is obviously. And,
yeah, that's
I
sad.
think Patrick Swayze died too.
I think so too. I think he did as well. Yeah, it's
so depressing. We should end on that note.
Yeah, we should. We're all spiraling toward the inevitability of death. No, but to put a more positive spin on that, I just had a conversation actually with someone 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had just lost someone in their life, and you're trying to be empathetic, and that's
still,
hard.
This still doesn't feel like we're coming back up.
We're coming back up.
It still feels like we're pretty low.
I lost a good friend of mine a year ago, almost a year ago now.
Yeah,
and you use it to look at the positive, right?
Yeah.
To realize that we can go into our agencies every day and laugh at the stuff that doesn't go right, because it's okay, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And every day is an opportunity.
Yeah, and you're providing in an honorable way, and
Yeah.
you're present, and
Yeah.
you get to accomplish all the things you want to accomplish.
You get to accomplish things. You get an opportunity. You get to be out there, and like I said, we have the opportunity as agents to just bring someone just the smallest amount of joy in their life.
Yeah, or
and
peace at the right moment.
I joke with my daughter. We have a joke that we call it a wink and a smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's always teasing me that sometimes you can be persuasive. I said, well, I've been in sales for a long time,
Yeah.
but I tell her, it's amazing how much a wink and a smile can really get you in this life, because not because you're being disingenuous, but because people
want a wink and a smile.
It's amazing how often you just smile at someone, bring the smallest modicum of joy to their lives.
Yeah.
And they love you forever.
A really good winker is an incredible person. Like if you got a good wink, man, you're going places.
You just got to be a positive.
But most people I don't think are good winkers.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's just
sometimes it comes across real creepy.
Yeah. But a good winker.
Yeah.
Man, that's a talent.
I've always been jealous of. I had a friend when I was growing up that she could wink without moving any of the other muscles in her face.
See, that's a good winker.
And that's
a
one
great
of the
winker.
most amazing things I've ever seen. Like anyone else that winks, other things move, not hers.
Yeah.
Or I would close.
That's
and
what I'm
open.
referring to when I say a good winker.
Yeah.
Like without any other muscle reacting to it. Because then it's less creepy.
Yeah.
If more muscles have to engage to do the wink, then suddenly it's like, that's a really creepy wink. But if just the wink occurs, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
What a powerful skill.
Yeah, you just, we, again,
and then hopefully they have the guts to use it.
Yeah, just be nice, be cool, the people. It's amazing how often that people will be cool with you.
Yeah.
I think I told you I lived in Central America for a time and found myself in some pretty sketchy areas at times. And you realize that most people, they just want to be people.
Yep.
And the sketchy people, you're kind to them and they're shockingly kind back to you. And
like,
some
hey,
people
cool.
are like,
Yeah, totally.
So,
totally.
Yeah, so I'd ended on just, we all have the hard market. We all have tough things. But if you can stay focused on the positive and be happy and bring people a little bit of joy, it's going to be better for you and better for them. Yeah.
Delusional optimism.
Completely, right? Yeah.
It's a great skill set.
Ignore reality, and especially if you can do it through some type of maybe, substance. That's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about that.
I'm just joking.
But we are in Colorado, so why not, right? So thank you very much, John.
Yes.
Have a wonderful day, and
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
catch you all later. Bye-bye.